We lived here, my mum, dad and me, from 1958, the year I was born, until 1970, when I was 11. My mum was proud of the fact that we lived in an end terrace house, and so were effectively in an unusually extended semi-detached. Even without that enhancing increment of status, it was a glamorous terrace. The bricks on the east-facing fronts of all the houses were glazed, and in places this glazing was pocked with spiderweb cracks, the result of gunfire from the Second World War. The Germans had not only succeeded in crossing the Channel, they had somehow advanced all the way to Gloucestershire, right up Fairhaven Street to the front line of Fairfield Walk. Even if that is historically questionable, it shows how close to home the war was in the consciousness of any boy growing up in the 1960s. At the back of the houses was a lane with a wide ridge of grass in the middle and weeds at the edges. Halfway along this unpaved lane met another, similarly puddled, running perpendicular to it, between Fairfield Avenue and Fairfield Park Road. This was where kids from all the nearby Fairfields converged and played. If the war at the front of the houses was in the past, here in the lanes, on the far side of history, it continued unabated. Unsupervised by adults, all our games were war-related. Although overwhelmingly Second World War-derived, the weaponry was ahistoric, sourced from the Wild West of cowboys, six-shooters, holsters, and Indians, bows and arrows with suckers instead of sharp points, the Crusades, swords, shields, an assortment of plastic armor, and contemporary espionage, James Bond, the man from U.N.C.L.E. Everything which in wartime had been metal was, in our version, remoulded in plastic. I owned both a black plastic Tommy gun and, like many of my friends, a green plastic helmet. Since these helmets protected us from injury, it was acceptable to cosh Keith Williams over the head, over his plastic helmet, with my Tommy gun. His helmet did its job. He was unharmed. But the barrel of my gun snapped off and was left hanging from the plastic khaki strap, connecting it to the simulated wood grain of the plastic stock. A coveted weapon had been reduced to bits of angled plastic, one dangling from the other. I was fine, but with my gun mortally injured, had to return with it to the dressing station called home. My dad glued the gun back together later that evening, but thereafter it was fragile. More fragile than it had been before it broke, and had to be handled with a delicacy unsuited to the demands of battle.